I'll be honest with you. I've probably spent more time chasing women than I'd care to admit. It's something I had to tone down a lot after what I'm about to tell you. I went to school in California, and while I haven't been back in a while, the culture there was, well, let's just say it was very open. When I say open, I mean sexual. It could have been the same at other colleges in other states, but who knows? It was my sophomore year, and I had just finished pledging the fraternity pike. By halfway through the semester, though, I was getting sick of the whole scene. The same sorority girls who seemed to know half the guys in every frat. It was starting to feel gross. I started developing this nagging fear that every girl I was interested in had been with several of the guys I knew. So, I decided to try my luck on Tinder. It didn't take long before I matched with someone whose interests seemed to align perfectly with mine. We started talking, and everything was going smoothly. After a few days of chatting, we made plans to meet at a local college bar, Tap House, on a Saturday night. Tap House was my favorite spot, had pool tables, and I'd been playing since I was a kid. I got there a little early to secure a table and warm up my game, but an hour passed, and she hadn't shown up. I started accepting the fact that I'd probably been stood up. I was about to bail on the night and play online chess when I got a message from her. "Hey, I'm here." I looked around and finally saw her at the bar. She apologized for being late, and we started chatting. She was Latina and a heavy drinker, so I found myself drinking more than I should just to keep up. At one point, she asked for my Instagram, and I gave it to her. Within seconds, I found myself staring at a collection of explicit photos she had sent me. I was confused, but too drunk to question it. Before I could respond, she said, "Your turn." I guess if I had been sober, I would have wondered why we were sending photos when we were literally 5 feet apart, but I didn't care. I complied, we both laughed about it, and that was that. A few hours later, as the bar started winding down, I was planning on inviting her back to my place, but before I could even say anything, she asked if I could stay at hers. I agreed, and we headed out. By this point, I could barely walk in a straight line, but I was too drunk to care. We Ubered to her apartment, which, in hindsight, was a huge red flag. It was in Oakland. I hadn't realized it at the time, but it should have been enough to make me reconsider. We got to her apartment, and she unlocked the door and stepped aside, gesturing for me to go first. I walked in, and before I could even turn around to ask her to turn on the lights, the room lit up, and to my horror, I wasn't facing a harmless 5'2" girl anymore. Instead, I was face to face with 2 massive bald guys in tank tops, standing in front of the door with their hands clasped. I spun around to see another bald guy in front of me. I couldn't process what was happening. My body froze. The guy in front of me began listing my name, birthday, and age. Then he casually told me that the girl I'd just been with was 17. He told me I had sent explicit photos to a minor. My stomach dropped. The guy went on to explain that he was a major distributor of illicit substances in Northern California, and if I didn't want to be outed as a pedophile, I'd do what I was told. The 2 men behind me took my phone, my wallet, and my keys without a fight. I didn't resist. I was too drunk to think straight. They handed me a piece of paper and told me to write down my address and the names and numbers of everyone I knew at the university. I asked to use my phone to complete the list, and one of them handed it to me, holding it in front of me while the others hovered over my shoulder, making sure I didn't try anything. I don't know what made me do it, but when I saw my chance, I ran. I bolted out the door I had entered through, not caring about the consequences, not thinking about the explicit photos on my phone. I just needed to get away. I ran, fast as I could, through the dark streets of Oakland, one of the most dangerous places in America. Eventually, I found a house that looked decent enough, and I begged them to let me use their phone to call 911. I told the police everything, but I couldn't remember the address of her apartment. I couldn't even remember how I'd gotten there, only that I had run. An officer picked me up and took my report, asking if I could lead them back to the apartment. I retraced my steps, trying to remember the way. I waited in a squad car as the police went in. After a few minutes, one of the officers came back and told me the apartment was completely deserted. There was no sign of anyone, no evidence that anyone had been there. In the weeks that followed, the police actually took my report seriously and launched a full-scale investigation. They speculated that it was probably gang-related, but no one was ever arrested. It's been years since that night. I haven't used a dating app since, and I never will again.